Ground ball, right side. Carlos Rosario up with it, gonna have to hurry the throw and throws it away. Trevor Hall was not covering first base, and Rodney Allen took a long time to get over there. Carlos Rosario looked over, wasn't anybody to throw to, he still threw it. 2-0 pitch. Laying down a bunt that is fielded by Hall. Again, nobody's going to get there to cover in time. Carlos Rosario was late covering this time, and Trevor Hall had no one to toss it to. Popped up, and that's a big one for the Rox if it's caught. Bustos retreating, Cosby converging, and they let it drop between them. The run scores, and the comedy of errors continues. It's 1-0. This is like a bad slapstick comedy tonight. Rodney Allen hoping for a little more support, both offensively and defensively, as he goes to work on Malvin Matos, the designated hitter. The first pitch from Allen is swung on and crushed to left field. Forget about it. It's gone. Home run, Malvin Matos. Swung on a bouncer to the right side, gloved by Carlos Rosario. Throw to first base, and Hall bobbles the ball. He was late getting over to cover the bag again. Took the throw, and as he bobbled it, his foot came off the bag. And Zoria's safe at first base. This is brutal. And now Rick Sever is going to come on out to the mound. Tell Rodney Allen that I have no idea what he would tell Allen at this point. Rodney Allen gets set to go back to work. The 2-2 pitch. Swung on, ground ball, right side. Carlos Rosario fumbles the ball. Throw to first is not in time. Oh my goodness. A routine ground ball to Carlos Rosario, and he fumbles it. Allen had some scouts from the Detroit Tigers watching his most recent start. Bet he's hoping that nobody's out here tonight. One hop to first and not in time. Pretty nice effort by Carlos Rosario. And the range way to his right. Gloved the ball behind second base on the outfield grass, wheeled and throwed. And this wasn't in time. One hopped it to first base. He throwed. Yes, errors flying all over this ballpark.
With the Rox losing 12 of their first 16 games in the second half, it was either laugh or cry. Fortunately, Brockton fans were still having fun despite what was happening down on the field, so I tried to remain upbeat up in the booth. And that was easier on the final day of the second half opening homestand when I had a surprise visitor, the brother of Rox minority owner Bill Murray, an excellent actor and a very funny man.
Well, joining us in the broadcast booth, Brian Doyle-Murray. Good to see you, Brian.
Hi, good to be here.
Welcome to Brockton.
Wow, this is the greatest little ballpark I've ever seen.
Isn't this nice?
Beautiful. Just terrific.
A called strike to Mike Landry. The count now 0-2. So what brings you to Brockton?
Well, I'm on my way to Maine, my wife and I thought this would be a good place to stop over. Highly recommended by my brother Bill and my friend Van Schley. And they told me they had a great day, time of opening day. So I'm a fan of minor league baseball, and I thought this would be a perfect place to stop on my way to Maine.
Fantastic. You know, it was a shame on opening day we actually got rained out. Bill was out here entertaining the crowd. There's a ground ball right up the middle between Bennett's legs into center field, and Mike Landry is aboard with a leadoff single. So the crowd came out here. They didn't get a baseball game that night, but they got some entertainment from Bill anyway.
That's what I heard, and I read the article in Sports Illustrated. It was a very nice article about
talking between innings that we could be seeing more of the sweet spot. If you caught a show that the whole Murray clan involved in it out on the golf course.
But we had a lot of fun. We had some nice locations, Palm Springs and Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, St. Augustine, Florida, where we had a Caddyshack restaurant, and Montego Bay, Jamaica.
First pitch from Goodrum. This is low and outside. Kevin Goodrum on a roll. He has struck out 6 in this ball game. If you have to work, I can think of worse places to go work.
And, and you have to work. You might as well have a golf club in your hand.
There you go. I just got a call about a week ago from my dad down in Florida, just thrilled to death. He broke 100 for the first time in his life, and just, the first thing he did was run to a phone to pick it up and brag about it. I thought that was wonderful.
Well, and that's a milestone. They say if you can't break 100 on the golf course, you have no business on the golf course. But if you can break 100, then you have no business. There you go.
After the game up in the suites, I told Brian that one of my prized possessions was a record album entitled National Lampoon's That's Not Funny, That's Sick, which featured the voices of Bill Murray and Brian Doyle-Murray and Lorraine Newman and Christopher Guest and Richard Belzer. Great stuff. And Brian calls over his lovely wife Christina and says, "Honey, he has one of my old National Lampoon albums." And Brian just seemed so tickled to death that anybody remembered this album, which was hysterically funny. The Rox lost 2 out of 3 in Albany, where Daryl Nicholas would play his final game for the Rox. For whatever reason, manager Ed Noddle wasn't a big fan of Nicholas, who had limited range and did misplay a lot of fly balls, but he only got charged with 1 error in 30 games and did have a pretty decent throwing arm. It took a while for his bat to heat up with only 6 hits in his first 45 at bats, but in his final month with the Rox, he hit over .330. Pitching coach Rich Sever told me that Ed Noddle didn't even give Daryl Nicholas the news of his release in person. He simply left him a message on his phone. Wow. The Rox added outfielders Chris Sawyer and Brian Schultz, but neither proved to be an upgrade offensively or defensively over Nicholas. And since it left the team 1 veteran short, I figured there was another move in the works. And there was. Meanwhile, the Rox headed to Allentown, where they won the opening game of the series, but in Game 2 against the Ambassadors came a very scary moment.
Darryl Motley, who is now a teammate of Ryan Bordenik, playing in the World Series in 1985. Ryan Bordenik was a 9-year-old. Unbelievable. Line drive right back off the back of Mike Marcasano. Rosario picks it up and throws it away into the right field corner, allowing Bordenik to advance to second base. Marcasano is still down on the mound. That line drive appeared to hit him square in the back, and it was hit hard. Ricocheted all the way back to the foul line. Mel Rosario came out from behind the plate, picked up the ball, and made an ill-advised underhanded toss to first base. Threw it over Trevor Hall's head. So Bordenik to second base, but right now a lot of concern as to how Mike Marcasano is, because that ball hit him in the lower back and hit him hard. All of the Rox infielders are gathered around, as is Ryan Bordenik, who hit the ball. Bordenik showing some concern. In fact, right now Bordenik is asking the trainer for the Ambassadors to come out and take a look as well, joining the Rox trainer, who is right now leaning over Mike Marcasano. Mike Marcasano still down on the ground, obviously in some pain. Manager Ed Noddle is out there along with pitching coach Rich Sever. And Sever is going to make a sign out to the bullpen. It looks like Mike Marcasano is going to be unable to continue. Sever motioning for someone in the bullpen to get heated up. Both trainers still attending to Mike Marcasano, who is still laying prone. Rox trailing in this ballgame 3-2, but right now that is secondary to the concern for Mike Marcasano. See the general manager of the Allentown Ambassadors out on the field now with a walkie-talkie, and I don't know whether they could possibly be signaling to try to get a doctor out here, because Marcasano is obviously in distress. He has not gotten up. Marcasano is being helped to his feet now and getting a hand from the crowd here. It looks like he's going to be carried off the field very gingerly by a couple of players. Marcasano obviously in pain, I can see from his face, being carried off through the Ambassadors' dugout. No numbness, I am told, and that is very good to hear. That's very important. Just very sore, according to General Manager Jeff Fisher of the Allentown Ambassadors, and he is being transported to the hospital as a precautionary measure. So we will let you know if we find out any more as the game progresses, but that's good to hear that there was no numbness, and the fact that it did not catch him directly on the spine. It caught him right above the hip in the lower back area. So that could be good news.
Mike spent most of that night in the hospital, sore, but fortunately no internal damage. He would not return to the mound until August 13th, and by then, the Rox had only one player named Rosario remaining on their roster. Be sure to click the subscribe button to follow my wild and wacky journey with the Brockton Rox, because more episodes are on the way. Thanks for watching.